From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation with Trent and friends, featuring the lovely Coach Dee. We got a good one here tonight. We got a real good one here tonight. But first off, say hi to the folks over on our Instagram. What's going on, folks? How y'all doing tonight? YouTube Live, Roku channel, all that good stuff. And as always, you guys can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all that good stuff. For the Apple Podcast users, subscribe, 3 days free. After that, $1.99 for a month, each month. So good stuff. Let's bring Coach Dee in here for some Gumbo Talk. Hey.
Hey there.
How you doing tonight?
I am good. Xavier just had a friend over, so he's...
I'm sorry.
Said Xavier had a friend over, so he's downstairs relaxing now.
Okay. Good stuff. So tonight's topic, why waste your time? If it's not a value to them, why waste your time? If it's not a value, whatever you value, if it's not a value to them, why waste your time? Why waste your time? And that goes for relationships, business, relationship, whatever. If whatever you value is not a value to you, and they don't value it, why waste your time? In today's climate, life is too short to be wasting time on people who don't value or don't value anything that you believe in or anything that you're doing. So why waste your time? Thoughts? Because the topic come from you as well. So
yeah, here's the thing. There's a little more to it because it goes back to the no effort, low effort, high maintenance, the whole thing, right? So if you have things that are of value to you, there should be communication prior to getting to a serious relationship where you have that discussion of if your values match or not.
Exactly.
Right? Like
to the folks before we get into this Gumbo Talk.
Hey, Kathy, how are you? Hope you have a great evening.
Hey, Kathy, what's going on with you? Kathy out of North Carolina. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you have something that's important to you and your other half has no concern with it whatsoever, doesn't ask you about it, doesn't even look any information up about it,
right,
you need to ask yourself why, right? They don't have to be as into it as you are, but they should at least show some interest because it's something that you enjoy.
Exactly. I say hi to way out there in Atlanta. We got Keesa on Instagram. It's Black Light and Trucking. Nowhere he's at in the country. So last time I talked to him, he was over in Alabama somewhere. So what up, Black Light and Trucking?
Right. And Slash just joined us. Grand Rising Melanated people. Greetings, Princess Coach Dee and Mr. Epic. I say good evening to Kathy.
What up, Slash? I see you. Good stuff. Yeah, man. So as I was cutting the tape last week, I was like, damn, what we gonna talk about? Because I totally forgot about what we jotted down. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, damn, what are we gonna talk about? So as I'm cutting the tape, I was talking about a friend over and, looking at my toy cars and whatnot, my toy model cars and, my makeshift garage and all this other stuff. Unbeknownst to her, she didn't know that I do that, as I stated on the previous podcast, for my mobility, to gain more mobility in my left side. So she come in and kind of talking down about my toy cars. And I'm like, the nerve of this so-and-so and whatnot. So we got to talk. I was like, damn, that's time right there. And just like you said, if they don't value what you value, why waste your time?
Yeah. And here's the thing. They don't have to be into it or anything like that.
Exactly.
But if you're going to buy somebody a gift and they have something that they really value doing and you haven't paid any attention to it, how are you going to know what to get them?
Exactly.
Right? It's all about effort. Effort effort. There's no such thing as low maintenance because anybody who's putting in effort is a high
And
maintenance person.
also in that tape that I was cutting, we were talking to Slash, and Slash was saying he wasn't going above and beyond to pick up stuff from different locations as far as if she's on a first date or whatever. I can understand it on the first date. But if they've taken time and had a conversation and she wants three different things from three different restaurants, fast food restaurants, that is, while he's on her way to her house, I don't see a problem in picking that stuff up.
Yeah, it wasn't a first date though. It's you're somebody that you're seeing,
But man,
right? So, and Kathy says, I agree wholeheartedly. However, people like to hang around in the land of options. You don't know how many people will settle for that. Why waste your time? Say what you mean and mean what you say. Yep. I tell people you need to be less golden retriever and more cat-like.
Oh, wait, what?
You have to be less golden retriever and more cat-like. Golden retrievers love everybody, put up with everything. They're just happy to see you. No matter what you do, they're just going to come over you and wag your tail. Cats have boundaries and consent. Cat's going to be like, you ain't
Speaking of
been around for 3
retrievers,
weeks. Yeah,
speaking of retrievers, I got a Labradoodle in the back, or you already know that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Cats
Totally
are like, you haven't been around for 3 weeks? I don't got time for you right now.
Absolutely.
That's what people need to be more like. Cats are the kings and queens of boundaries and consent.
Right,
They ain't playing
right.
games with you. You could pet them until they say no, and then they're gone. Like,
That's it. Simple as that, man. Life, and like I said in the opening, in today's climate, man, life is extremely too short to be wasting your time. And if they don't value, and I truly stand on this, if they don't value what you value, at least show some type of interest in whatever you're doing, whatever it is, move away quick.
yeah. And Kathy says, I
Life
had
is
a
too
golden
short to be
retriever, and that's
wasting.
true. Listen, I love golden retrievers. They're absolutely adorable, cutest dogs there ever. So don't go hating on me because I said you had to be more like a cat. I love
Who's
them.
that
They're
Slash?
adorable.
Who's that Slash?
No, that was Kathy. She says she has a golden retriever. But yeah, it's people will put up with a lot just to say they have somebody
Right.
versus being alone. And sometimes you need to date yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. It's the best date you could ever do is do it with yourself,
Yeah,
in
and
my opinion.
then you'll have people who will change partners and date constantly just so they don't have to do any changes with themselves.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it, yeah, life is way too short to settle or put aside your needs and wants or not
Exactly.
communicate them or anything like that because it's
And also
important.
something else I pulled out of the conversation from last week as I was cutting the tape. We were talking about how we water ourselves down. Like in some cases, we water ourselves down to get to the prize.
Right.
Why water you in any situation, not just a romantic relationship, in any situation? You shouldn't water yourself down to make a person feel better.
No, never. Be unashamedly, authentically yourself.
That's it.
Um, let me see.
That's it.
I found a quote the other day. Let me see if I can find it. But too often we're so stuck in looking a certain way versus being a certain way,
And
and
that's the
we need
problem with
to.
social media, man. Like everybody want to color it up and make it look pretty and whatnot. I'm just not into that.
You can
You're
hide
gonna
it,
get what you
but
get.
listen, you image for some is everything, and social media is really good at showing a specific image if you cultivate that image, right?
Exactly.
But
Right.
9 times out of 10, whatever you're seeing is not always what is really going on.
That's true. That's
Right?
true.
Like I've seen people put posts up, and I'm like, well, that's not what you were saying yesterday. What are you talking about now?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
it's an illusion, and too
For
often people get
example,
caught up in it.
glad you brought that up. For an example, right? I'll be a little transparent real early. When we decided to come back with the conversation platform, I committed myself to saying, hey, you know what? We're going to build this thing out exactly what it is. Off the bedroom into the podcast studio. Everybody who knows me knows this situation. Partially paralyzed, working through recovery and all. People needed to see this.
Hmm.
If I was going to come back, I had to come back all the way authentic.
Hmm.
All the way authentic. it just worked out that they got a trauma coach in who's extremely authentic, sometimes to a fault.
It's never a fault being authentic.
I'm teasing. Good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and a lot of people don't realize that, right?
Right.
You have to be authentically yourself. And the reason is because there is only one you. Anything else
Exactly.
is an imitation.
Exactly.
And
I
the
see my
imitation
daughter
is
on
never
Instagram
truly
as well. Hey,
authentic.
Tay. I see
Yeah.
Tay. I see Georgia Girl, Black Lightning Trucking. Good stuff in purple. I'm sorry if I pronounced your tag wrong, but first name Purple. How you guys doing? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Open to the
My
conversation.
phone's dead, so I don't have the Instagram up right now. Yeah. So here's the thing:
I see you, Miss Katina. Let's see. Go ahead.
no matter who you are or what you like, just be you, right? If you think you're
That's
weird,
it.
be weird. Yeah, there's
That's
nothing
it.
wrong with being a little quirky, right? Everybody
Exactly.
has their quirks. Some of us admit it more than others. Whatever. I
Exactly.
proudly have
Again,
my Star Trek bumper stickers and my Pokemon bumper stickers.
exactly. Again, why waste your time on someone who doesn't value you and value
Hmm.
your interests or anything?
Yeah.
Why waste your
Kathy said,
time?
yeah, I like that. Date yourself. However, people don't like being authentic nor transparent. It's easier for people to foster a persona people won't question. When you are yourself, people side eye you. Yeah. Well, here's the thing: if people are doing that, those are the
Exactly.
wrong people to be around.
Right.
And you're always who the 5 people you spend the most time with tells should tell you more about yourself than you realize sometimes.
That's right.
Right?
That's
If
right.
you're constantly why you're constantly exposing yourself to people who are draining you or have constant
Exactly.
drama, right? It's
Exactly.
okay to walk away from a 30-year friendship if that 30-year friendship has never served you.
That's right. That's right. And it's okay to stand 10 toes down on what you believe in. If they don't value what you value, it's
Mhm.
okay to move away quick.
Yeah. And here's the thing, especially around the holidays, a lot of people don't realize that it's okay to say no to toxic family members. You don't have to go spend time with people that don't feed your soul.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
how many people were at the airports lined up to get into a plane going somewhere where they didn't want to be? How much happier would have you been if you'd stayed home?
Speaking of the holidays, I had a conversation with my brother when we were talking about, holidays are just not the same since,
Right.
my mother and my brother passed away. We've declined a ton of going around, folks. And
Mhm.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
If you
A
wasn't
lot of
doing it
people.
before, why are you doing it now?
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
So a lot of people. It's hard when you realize that sometimes the person that is because people don't like to let go. It's hard to let go. We talked about that
Right.
last week. That if somebody's been in your life for 20, 30 years and they've always been around, what is your life going to be like without them? And then I ask myself, how have they been in your life for the last 20, 30 years? Have they always been
Exactly.
there for the good things? Or have they been there for the bad things or only the good things?
Exactly.
How have
And
they
this is what
served
we
you? Yeah,
this is where we confuse what you're saying there. This is where we confuse quantity and quality. I used to
exactly. Yeah.
confuse that a ton.
Hmm.
I used to confuse that quantity with the quality. I used to
Yeah.
confuse that a ton.
Yeah.
But if you're not bringing quality, you're not bringing quality to my life, I don't need you around. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are, how much time I've spent with you. At this stage, you worrying about the quantity, you're on the wrong path.
Yeah. Like some of my best friends back home, I didn't get to visit everybody, and
Right.
I call it one friend. I said, "Listen, I didn't get to visit you this trip. I'll come next time. You're first on the list." Like, no problem, man. Known each other for 30 something years. We're good, and we've
Exactly.
been there for good times and bad times.
Exactly.
And sometimes I had people drive 5 hours just to have lunch because we're close. We're good friends, and it's we've been there in the bad and good. And sometimes you just
Exactly.
have to realize that who you have around you is who's feeding your soul.
Exactly. Look like
Right?
Kathy's giving you flowers.
Oh, she says, amen, amen. Thanks, Coach D. listen, I'm just being honest, and here's the thing. A lot of time people don't like what I'm saying because it hits home. And I know even though I've never called anybody a name, never said anything specific, I'll get some hate mail. I get hate mail just about every show, at least one. Every single show, no matter what I say.
Amen.
it's like it's
Hit
like,
dogs do holler. Hit dog do holler.
it is. It's like, we're being very general the whole time. We're we're not being rude or anything. It's just
At
like,
all.
listen, just think about what's going on in your life and take a look around.
Exactly.
Right? If that
And
gets
this
you
this
upset,
is this is what I call straight talk, no chaser,
yeah,
encouragement. And we call it Gumbo Talk because we want you guys to come in, add your voice to the topics, just like Kathy and Slash and
yeah,
um my favorite Detroiter. She's always coming in and add her voice. Everybody add their voice to the pot. Add your opinions to the pot. So we
yeah.
don't just say, hey, we're not sitting on a high panel of judges. We're not
Oh
doing
God,
that.
no.
Not over here. We're not doing that. Add your thought to it. Even if you agree with Trent or you don't agree with Coach D, you don't agree with it, that's cool. We're adult over here. We do adulting.
I like it when people disagree with me, as long as they're polite about it, because when you have other opinions and other views, you can take a look at it differently. Because
Absolutely.
you don't want an echo chamber where everything is your voice repeated. You want differences of opinions, and sometimes
Exactly.
we can take a piece of that and say, "Hey, you know what? That makes a good point. What about this point?" And they can be like, "You know what? That makes a good point too." And we come to some sort of agreement on it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think that's a lot of what's going on. We don't have in the world right now is an equal discourse where we can have communication
Exactly.
so we can see both sides of what's going on. Although
I
right now
see outside a
politically
little bit on
that
Instagram.
yeah. So it's
Absolutely.
a
Good stuff though, man. So hey, tell the folks, what does that look like when what do you do? What's the process? And when you find that your partner or your friend, they don't value the thing that you value most. What's the
you have to
process in
communicate
walking
with them.
away from that or having a conversation?
You just sit down and have an honest conversation with them. Ask them the why. Okay? Don't get all
Right.
defensive and go, you never do this, and just be like, I'm just curious about why I'm very interested in this and you showed no concern about it, or and ask them, you know, and then tell them, I'd like you to ask me a question about it, or just be slightly curious, just because I
Right.
spend so much time on this and this is so important to me,
Exactly.
right?
But
You
if a
don't have to,
person, I'm at the stage in my life, if a person want to do it, they're gonna do it. If not, they're not gonna do it.
yeah,
So that should tell you straight up, hey, they're not interested in that. Period.
yeah, yeah,
And keep it
like,
pushing.
yeah. Like I'm not telling anybody to go hunting with anybody. Just don't wash all their hunting clothes and fabric softener before they
Right,
go
right,
and mess up their hunt. Like, you know what I mean? Just be interested in what they get out of it, right?
exactly.
Because maybe there's something that the two of you can do together if you
Right.
communicate it, right? You can find
And this
something
is
that they
this is where we
do.
throw conflict out. If we have the conversation in the early stages of the friendship, relationship, whatever it is,
Mhm.
this is where we throw the conflict out the window.
Yeah,
But if we're not listening to one another, if we're not communicating, effectively communicating, I'll never know what your likes are. You'll never
yeah,
know what my likes are. You
yeah.
never know what
Because
my interests are.
yeah, because you have to think more we than me, and too often people get caught up in the me
Exactly.
and what I want. And you know what? It's good to know what you want, what you need. But if you're only concerned about yourself and you're not concerned about anybody else, then you're not serving that relationship the way it should be.
There it is.
Right? There should be equal give and take. Because too
There it
often,
is. There it is.
and too often especially, we'll get so, especially women will put all the effort and around the guy and focus
There it
everything
is.
around him. And then once you leave that relationship, then you have to rebuild yourself.
Right. Man, I'm
Right?
so glad, off topic here. I'm so glad that Instagram finally fixed the streaming part
Of
on
it.
this end for us. So I'm seeing all those folks coming in there, man. So this is good stuff. I haven't
All
been
right.
back on Instagram like that in years.
Any
Ever since I
comments or
formed the
anything?
conversation back in 2012, actually 2010. So appreciate you guys. Good to see all you guys in that stuff.
You know, I have an Instagram page and I barely use it. I am probably really bad for social media because I don't
I
use
know,
that much
because
at all.
hey, if you actually log into your Instagram, you'll see all the tags from the podcast.
Yeah, I never look at those.
Never, never, never,
Never,
never.
never. I don't listen. I don't go back and listen to the videos because it's like what I said. What I said.
But I go back and I cut the tape, to promote the stuff for us and what have you, and pulling different topics off there because some of that stuff I sit back and I watch it, right? Either I do it on YouTube or wherever, and I'm like, wow, I sit like a viewer. You know what I'm saying? That I get out of the show as well. It's
Right.
something I said or something you said or something one of the viewers said. There's
Hmm.
always a learning curve. We can get that on the podcast. So when I just talking just to be talking, straight talk, no chaser, encouragement.
Yeah, it's here's the thing. There's so many people out there talking just to be talking. Like there's a lot of great people out there, a lot of great content, and there's
Right.
some people that I'm like, oh my god. Sometimes you need to. There's some people
Turn
who
that
shouldn't have access
microphone
to a
on.
mic,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
um, it's scary some of the bad information they're giving. But
Exactly.
and with anything, you have to weed out the good and the bad, and figure
Exactly.
out what works for you, right?
Absolutely.
Not everybody's going to get how we discuss things. Yeah, that's fine. We're not
So
for
I
you.
want to touch back on
Not for
if
you to
Slash is
use.
still there. I'm more than sure Slash is still there. I want to
Mhm.
touch back on with him not going above and beyond for said relationship or said friendship or whatever it is, as far as if she's requesting three different things from three different restaurants. I'm gonna put the scenario in there on his way to her. Like if
Yeah,
he's on his way to her house and she's requesting Five Guys burger and she want the fries from McDonald's and she want the smoothie from wherever, whatever it is.
yeah.
It's three different places.
He
Because
already said he wouldn't do it.
he said he wouldn't.
He said he wouldn't. But then I asked him if his wife was pregnant, would he do it? And he said yes, he would.
Okay.
After a roundabout answer. But yeah. But here's the thing, and I'm not gonna start coaching him because there's too much. I honestly think he says it just to get a reaction most of the time.
You think so?
I
Because
believe
Slacks
that.
is a wonderful guy, man. I've been knowing that guy for almost 40 years, so he's a solid guy. And I believe, my personal opinion of all the years I've known him, he would go to three different locations to get that food and bring
Mm.
it to her.
I don't doubt because I don't think you would be friends with somebody who's
Nah, I've been knowing
that type
Slash
of
about
persona.
I've been
Yeah,
knowing Slash for 40 years. He's a real
yeah.
good guy, stand-up guy.
He just needs to mind his manners sometimes.
And there you go throwing bricks.
Yeah. So I'm just being honest.
There
But
you
here,
go, there
yeah,
you go.
you know what? And that's the thing. When you have friends for a long time, we like you can have great friends, great friendships, and they serve both of you. If you have a
Yeah,
friendship that's only serving one person, that's not really a friendship.
that's right.
And
And
sometimes,
that's an imbalanced situation, whether it be romantic, friendship, business, that's imbalanced.
mhm,
Some people really don't get that. Like
yeah,
when I tell folks, I do not want an imbalanced friendship. I don't want an imbalanced siblingship. None of that.
yeah,
If I'm coming in with 100, you bring 100 as well.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing. If it's imbalanced, it's not going to work. I don't care what type of relationship it is. If it's
No,
imbalanced, it's not going to work.
it never does, and you end up with relationships where people aren't really in touch with each other. They
That's
don't know
right.
about each other, stuff like that. You know,
That's right.
like
That's right.
people I know on the internet shouldn't know more about Xavier than somebody I've known for 30 years,
Right.
right? And it's life is short. We need to really look at who we're allowing into our peace, who we're allowing into our
Absolutely.
orbit, to use one of your words, right? Because some breaking your peace is not worth it for everybody,
At all. And that's
right?
very important, man. That's very important when we talk about peace. I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, for about an hour, spent some time on the phone. We were talking about some personal things with him. Like I was telling him, I was like, man, sounds like you got a whole bunch of tarp all over there. He's like, it is, man. It's getting so frustrating to me. Like sometimes, man, you have to figure out what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out what's best for you instead of going back and forth through the rigmarole and dealing with the nonsense. Something simple,
Yeah.
dealing with the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Why are you allowing your peace to be interrupted? You got to figure it out. You got to figure out what's best for you.
And you got to make sure you're not the one who's interrupting your peace with nonsense.
One more time for the people in the back who didn't hear you.
You got to make sure you're not the one who's interrupting your peace. Like
What does that look like?
Let's look at co-parenting relationships, right? So you've been in a relationship, you've had a child, you've either broken up or you've divorced, but you can't be an adult and have a relationship with that other parent as parents.
Right.
You see it all the time. People get so upset. Oh, they've got a new person in their life. They got if you are stuck, because there's different reasons why it would make a difference. So we're not talking about unhealthy relationships where somebody's a narcissist or abusive or manipulative. Okay, we're not talking about those folks. We're just talking about two people who broke up because it didn't work out. Right? If you can't co-parent, then you need to sit down, both of you, and look at why you can't do that.
Exactly.
Because the person that matters the most is the kid. And
That's right.
a lot of time, if there's stuff that has happened, if you've gotten therapy and you've moved on, we have to remember that the story changes. Stories change all the time.
That's
Life
true.
is a choose your own adventure book. If everybody remembers.
Now, when you say stories change, again, what does that look like? When your story changed from the original story that caused the breakup?
So here's the thing. When we get into relationships, we all have this story about how this relationship looks and how this relationship's going to go.
Right.
But there could be an illness. There could be a loss of a job. There could be a loss of a child. Lots of things happen where the story that we have changed. And sometimes it's hard to get around that change.
Right.
And I tell people therapy is not a 4-letter word. Go and talk to people and then help you to deal with the change that's happening so that you're prepared for what the new story looks like.
Exactly. Do you know now? You know, when you talk about therapy in Americans, they really don't.
Listen, you know what? I'm making up my e-store, right?
Right.
And I made a tote. So this is because I'm sarcastic by nature. So I made a tote bag.
You
And
don't
it says,
say.
yeah. And the tote bag says emotional baggage. Just kidding. It all wouldn't fit in here, right?
Right.
And it's just, here's the problem. It's in America, and I love this country, so don't say I'm anti-American. Is we're taught individuality, rugged
Right.
individuality. We're going to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and do this, and I did this on my own. And nobody has ever done anything on their own in the
Right.
entire history of mankind, right? That doesn't
Right.
happen. It doesn't work that way. We're a dependent society. People have had help from other people. It may not look the same for everybody, but nobody in the world has ever done everything on their own. There's been assistance of some type.
Exactly.
And so
You know what I find?
when
What I
we teach
find with
that,
therapy.
to reach out.
What I find with therapy, you know, it helped me a great deal
Mhm.
with my divorce. You know, my separation at the time, and you know, talking to you and then talking to Dr. Stan pushed me along a great deal. I got to see a lot of things about myself. So I went from point, and I totally get what you're saying when you say the story changes. You know, as I went through the therapy and, you know, continued session after session and whatnot, speaking to you and Dr. Stan, stopped doing this and started doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I stopped pointing the finger, took that inward mirror and started looking at myself. Even though she had a great part to do with that, but I was focused on the wrong thing. I was focused on the hurt. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So I had to start doing that inward mirror thing, man. So therapy's not a wrong. I said that to say to the folks out there, therapy's not the wrong. It's not wrong at all. Act
yeah.
is a plus for you personally. So
Yeah. And
sorry it's coming in hot.
here's the thing. Not every therapist will work for every person. So you have to find the one that
Exactly.
works for you.
Slash
Slash
says,
says, come on now, you know my track record when my homies call. Always kept my circle small as a bottle top. Once again, dating, no flaming hoops or Cheetos, knowing 3 meal trips ain't for moi. So you're low effort. Thank you for letting everybody know. And now you've doubled down on it. So I don't know if that's the flex you think it is.
one
Bruh.
would take coming in
To
again.
quote Xavier. Yeah. My queen received a healthy balance of her wants and needs. Yeah. But yeah, somehow I feel that you're one who's choosing that healthy balance, though. So now you go down that road. But yeah,
Man, I wish when we had dinner last week with Urs and Shannon and everybody got a chance to meet Mark. Well, Urs already knew him, but Shannon never met Ursa nor Mark personally, physically. I wish I should have FaceTime. I really should have.
yeah, y'all are old. You can't video call a girl. That's all right. That's all right. I'll remember the next time. I'll remember. No worries. My heart's not broken.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good
We will
stuff.
move on. But yeah, so here's the thing. Life is so short. Like you never know what's coming down the road.
You know,
And too often people get caught up in how it could be. Like that's like this
exactly.
whole you need to build a man. No. If he ain't built, he needs to keep building himself. Right?
You know how I feel about that.
Listen, yeah, and you're
No,
wrong. Because
but here's the
somebody
thing, though. Yep. So I knew it was going to happen. I knew we were going
hmm,
to disagree at some point during the night. When we talk about build a man, I'm not talking about build a man, but if you find a man and you're attracted to that man where he's at, whatever stage he's at in life,
hmm,
you don't have to build him up, but speak life into him. I'm not talking about building him up. Like speak life into him. There's a difference. There's a clear and distinctive difference between building
what
him up and speaking life into him.
what exactly do you refer to as speak life into them? Because a lot of people
He may like
has that messed up.
hold on a second. He may be in a sunken place at that time. Maybe you could speak some words of encouragement to him to move him forward in life.
Mm,
I don't even say that you have to be in a relationship with this guy, go
yeah,
into a relationship with this guy, but he may be in a sunken place at that moment. He may be a great man, hitting life on all cylinders 6 months before he met you. So you
hmm.
don't have to build a man up, but speak life into him.
Here's the thing, though. Too often, especially in American society, that turns into a lot of mental labor for the woman.
I totally get that. Now,
And
let's
so,
turn this around a little bit because I like to share responsibility.
mhm,
What if she's in a sunken place? Wouldn't she want to be spoken life into her? Wouldn't she want life to be spoken into her?
sir, we live in a society where if a woman gets sick, men divorce them. So we just need to be aware of that reality.
I
So much
understand
that
what you're
nurses
saying.
are
I
trained.
understand what you're saying, but answer my question though. So
Yeah,
let's turn it around.
in a perfect world, that is what I would like to see. Unfortunately, I live in a world where that does not happen, and I'm a realist. You know, I'm a realist. So
That
that's
you
why I
are.
said
That you are.
if somebody, yeah, speak life into somebody, give them encouragement, give them motivation. But
Exactly. I
on that
mean,
same
you
token,
never know who you're speaking life into.
yeah,
You know what I'm
on
saying?
the same
So
note, make sure you're not
I don't
doing all the
believe in the
mental labor.
whole I don't believe in the whole building a man or building a woman. I don't believe in that. But I will speak life into you.
Hmm,
But what I'm not going to do is build you up.
yeah,
I'm not going to build you up for somebody else. I'll speak life into you. And
yeah.
if you happen to circle back once you get yourself together, and if I'm available, cool. But if
Mhm.
I'm not available, on to the next one.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with motivation or empowering conversation.
Exactly.
I'm all for
And
those.
a lot of people take that approach that I take on dealing with females like that. It's arrogant.
Okay.
It's not arrogant at all. It's not arrogant at all. If I'm speaking life into you, cool. I'm not gonna speak life into you and go into a relationship and your life is a mess. I'm throwing
How
myself in the fire. That don't make no sense. Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I think it only would come across as arrogant is if you were speaking as though you knew what's better for her than she does,
I got it.
right? I
I
don't
get
think
it.
it's arrogant to be helpful, to encourage, nurture. I think it becomes an issue when it's my way or the highway. You need to do
Gotcha,
this, this,
gotcha.
this, this, and this. and you don't allow
Yeah,
for any other
a tech guy
variation.
said, you know, our tech guy is Slash, you know, putting the studio together over here. He said the quality of the sound over there on IG is better than going
Okay.
through YouTube. Okay,
Yeah.
good
Slash says
stuff.
no $40,000 window blinds on my watch. What happens at the sipping
There
sides
you
of
go.
the table?
That Slash, you throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, but here's the thing: $40,000 in blinds is relevant to the amount of money that's coming in,
Thank you. Thank you.
right?
I appreciate that bus, Slash. Thank you.
Yeah, it's here's the thing: so many people get caught up in everybody else's pockets,
Right.
and there's a relevancy in funds. Like, who was it? Somebody said Cardi B has $1 million in Hermes purses.
Right.
That might be 2% of her net worth,
Right.
and they're also investment
And
pieces that you can sell back.
for the record, since I was put on Front Street, that's when the money was flowing. So the money not like that no more. So but I
Well, nobody
appreciate
knew
that
it
bus,
was you.
Slash.
Nobody
Huh?
knew it was you until you said so.
No, everybody who watched the podcast because I talked about it in the book. I talked about
Okay.
it on the podcast. So that's what he's referring to.
Okay. Yeah. So you know what? And he's like, "What happens at the sip and side stay at the table?" Listen, if I asked Trent what happened at the table, he'd tell me everything that happened at the table. I don't know what kind of secret you think you got.
Hey, Slash, it's just like I'm friends with you, I'm friends with her. We go a long way back. Actually, she saved me on the podcast when I called her when someone bet me that I couldn't get an ex to ride with me.
Yeah.
2 years strong. But let's get to Kathy. I digress.
Kathy says, "No circling back is a genuine gesture to speak life. Holding on to the past holds you in captivity. Bless them and let them be on their way." Yeah,
Pretty
exactly,
much.
exactly. And that's why so many people will glow up. I think is a term after they leave somebody because they've left that
One more time. Say that one more.
baggage
That
that's left
sounded
them
so
down.
good. Say that one more time for the people in the back who didn't hear it.
That's why people glow up when they leave, right? Because that other person has been holding them back.
Now, I find that, yeah, I could agree with the other person's been holding back, but in some cases, the person who's actually blowing up, he was holding his own self back.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
once you stop diminishing yourself and you start letting your own light shine, right?
Exactly.
And then people will
Ladies
tell
and
you,
gentlemen, this is what I call watering yourself down.
yeah, and the grass only grows greener where it's watered, right?
Exactly.
So if
Slash
you're
coming in
watering
hot.
other flowers, they look great, but if you're not watering yourself,
Absolutely.
I'm just sitting on a healthy balance of wants and needs like Patti LaBelle. Sure. Uh, yeah. So yeah, it's and too often we look at the exterior and not the interior of the person.
That's right.
Like what has
That's
what
right.
has changed other than what they're wearing or how their hair looks,
Pretty much.
right?
Pretty
And
much.
I think that's where the real power comes from is what internal changes they've made, what
I
they've
totally
reclaimed
agree
of
with that because
themselves.
once I got to the higher level of myself, I started looking at people differently.
Hmm.
The exterior, okay, yeah, that's cool. What's going on inside?
Yeah,
I'm more interested now in what's going on the inside. What's going on over there on the inside
right.
than the physical stature, whatever's going on, on the outside, the exterior.
Yeah,
But you have to
and
reach the high level of yourself to get to that point.
it is, and it's interesting. Like I had a conversation at work last week, and they're like, "Why are you so happy every time you come in here?" I said, "Because I get to come in and coach people. This is what I love to do. This is like my purpose in life. So when I come to work, I'm doing what I want to do, way more
Exactly.
than a paycheck." And they're like, and I said, and that's why people prefer to talk to me. That's why I can get the person who doesn't want to talk to anybody to talk to me because they know that I want to be here. And people
True
don't
talk.
understand that your authenticity, and trustworthiness show through when you're talking to people. People know when people are
Exactly.
running game. People know when people are lying to them. They can feel it.
Exactly.
And I
One
tell
second,
people,
one
yeah,
second, Coach D. I see me plus my three. I see you
yeah.
on Instagram. Good stuff.
So
Go
I
ahead.
tell people just just be yourself. We are all designer originals. That's what somebody told me once.
That's
We're
right.
designer original. There's only one of us, and they break the mold every time. And there's no other person that is you. They may look like you.
Run that back so I can
They
cut
are
the
you.
tape on this tonight. Run that back.
No. Everybody's a design original. You are the only you. There's no second you. Somebody may look like you, but they're not you. Right?
Absolutely.
Even twins have distinct personalities,
That's true.
right? And too often we get caught up in letting other people only see part of us
Right.
to protect who we are.
Exactly.
And I tell
That's
people,
right,
you
man.
don't need
Most
to
time,
protect who you are.
most time I find most time when we do that, when we camouflage in ourselves, camouflage in our life to present something much more greater to other folks, we're doing ourselves a disservice, man.
Right.
Doing ourselves a great disservice.
Yeah,
Authenticity goes a long way when you're honest with yourself.
it does. And too often people get caught up in the shallowness of life
Right.
and don't want to jump into the deep end. Because
Exactly.
the deep end, there's lots of stuff going on in the deep end. And you need to really think on your feet and be you. You can't hide.
That's right.
It's a lot harder to hide in the deep end. Because if you're hiding, you're going to sink, right?
Exactly. In my opinion, just my opinion, that's the biggest disservice you could do to yourself when you're not honest with yourself
Hmm.
and when you're hiding from yourself. I know what it looks like because I've been there. I hid from myself for a number of years. But if I hadn't reached that high level of myself, I wouldn't be walking through this recovery like a cakewalk.
Mm.
If I constantly lied to myself about this recovery, I wouldn't be as far as I am.
Yeah. You know what? Life, we all hide parts of ourselves
Right.
until we feel like we're in a safe spot,
Right.
right? And then the problem is too often we will still hide part of those even though we're in a safe spot, and we have to and the work is dirty. The work is messy. I don't care what
Yeah,
anybody says. That work is messy, but once you've done it, you feel a load lifted off your shoulders,
exactly.
right?
Like Coach Dee
Um,
and I always talk about, if you're gonna do the work, make sure you're prepared because it's gonna get ugly.
mhm.
Seriously, it's
Yeah,
gonna get traumatic. It's gonna it's gonna be a ton of things. If you decide not to get professional help, you try to do it yourself, be prepared for a mess.
yeah. Listen, if you're journaling, you could curled up in the corner of the fetal position, right? When you think about it, because it will bring up things from your past, and
That's right.
especially if you have trauma in your past, you need to make sure you have a support system on hand,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And to assist you. It is too hard doing the work without asking for help.
Exactly. And
We
that's for my
all have
folks who's actually, frown down on therapy and, turn the blind eye to therapy. That's for you guys. If you're gonna walk at it and do it alone, make sure you're prepared for what you start peeling back those layers. Once you
yeah,
start peeling back those layers, you're not gonna like what you see. I'm talking about with yourself.
yeah. Because when we're peeling back those layers, we see our own nonsense, and we all got nonsense.
Exactly.
We all
Everybody
got
comes
it.
with bullshit, man. Everybody comes with some
Yeah,
type of bullshit.
we all got it. You know, I will hold a grudge to the day I die. No problems about it. I will not forgive you.
Exactly.
It's not happening. You know what
Slash
I mean?
coming in hot. Slash coming in hot.
This is a topic of higher self. The world we live in is filled with good intentions. A lot of people play along to avoid conflict. So let's keep it at 100.
Read that again. What did he say?
I'm not sure. He said, this is a topic of higher self. The world we live in is filled with good intentions. A lot of people play along to avoid conflict. So let's keep it 100.
I'm not gonna say that. I won't. We'll agree to disagree on. This is a world filled with good intentions.
Yeah, the world ain't
Everybody
filled with
don't
good
have good
intentions at all.
intentions.
Mm-mm. I,
Everyone does not have good intentions. I told
not
you,
at all.
we're gonna agree to disagree on that. We're gonna keep it at 100, Flies. Everybody is not. Everybody don't walk in that door with good intentions for Trent. Everybody, everybody don't have a slash like I have a slash. Everybody don't have a D like I have a D.
No.
I'm just keeping it a buck.
The world is filled with a lot of horror. There's a lot of horror
Absolutely.
and pain in the world.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to realize that not everything that is currently happening should be happening.
Totally agree.
Right? We have multiple genocides all over the world occurring right now.
Hold on 1 second now. Instagram just allowed us to those 23,000 folks. So let's not piss them off real quick.
Yeah, Instagram will ban you in a quick. Yeah, but here's the thing, and that's what I tell people: don't be a fence sitter. Like, be you. Like,
Exactly.
if you have an opinion, you have a view on something, say it with your chest. If you're wrong and people disagree with you, they're wrong and you disagree with you, right?
Exactly.
Not everybody is right 100% of the time. I have views that you disagree
right.
with, you have views that I disagree with, and that's just the way life is.
But you know what I find
you can disagree with.
how I avoid conflict these days? When I see it, I move around it. Sometimes if they mean something to me, I have a conversation. If they don't, I keep it pushing.
And don't argue with stupid people.
Exactly. I'm not going to sit there and waste my time, energy, my breath on a person that I'm not going to talk to tomorrow.
Yeah.
I keep it pushing. But if they mean something to me, I have a conversation.
Yeah. Like, I inadvertently got into a debate with people on TikTok over raising your windshield wipers in a storm. From Canada, I have never
You told me about that.
Yeah, I have never once raised my windshield wipers. I look down the street here in Maryland, I don't see anybody raising their windshield wipers.
So why did they get upset with you? So because you disagree with them or what?
Because I simply said I've never done it. I don't see it commonly here where I live. And they're like, well, and then everybody's like, well, I see it here, and I'm like, you know what? That's fine, man. I'm just saying I don't see it.
You don't see it. If you don't see it, that's your point of view. That's your experience.
So then I was like, you know what? Since y'all gonna be like that, I said, well, y'all know that since you don't see racism, but I see it as a common thing, wouldn't that be the same thing? And then people got mad. How'd you bring race into it? I'm like, I'm just pointing out that y'all don't see racism, but I do. And you never understood that, but you can clearly understand me not seeing people with their windshield wipers raised.
Exactly. Oh, they acting like Nikki Haley, huh?
Yeah. Nimrita.
1 second, slash coming out again.
Since the United States is not a racist country. Well, Nimrita, why don't you go by Nimrita? The road to hell is also filled with good intentions. That's the facade that is said, rarely shown in this world of sin. There's no such thing as hell. It's not in the Bible. So, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Other conversation. And Eve didn't bite into an apple. Let's go in. The whole thing.
Here we go.
People getting upset already.
Here we go. Dee's gonna get us banned, and we just got access to these people already. So
I'm being nice. Like, you know what? It's, and that's why I think, like, 86% of people don't do their own research.
Right.
And just believe whatever they're told.
Exactly.
Like, I remember growing up in Canada, we have this commercial called House Hippos. And they showed house hippos all around your house and everything. At the end of the commercial is, did you really think they were real? And it goes on about making sure you check your resources and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And I showed it to Xavier, and Xavier's Gen Alpha. He's like, there's no such thing as a house hippo. And then went on to tell me all about hippos. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, oh, that's a good commercial. People need to pay attention. I'm like, yeah. And, and that's the same thing with relationships. You need to do your research on that.
Exactly.
Find out that person's likes and wants. And if their values and ethics don't match yours, then there's going to be issues. You can overlook it at the beginning, but eventually it will matter. Right? Have conversation.
Excuse me a second, Let me say hi to folks on Instagram again. I see my cousin Tony and that Tony Williams. What's up, man? I see you, brother. Good to see you. Go ahead.
Life is, people like to talk mess when they don't want to talk about their mess.
Bingo.
Right? so they'll bring other people up instead of looking inward. They're like pointing the fingers at everybody else. And so,
Exactly.
like, I'm the first. I'll talk about my mess. Yeah, I will
And
ghost you. Without a
do
second
you
question.
know exactly? Do you know that I was having a conversation with someone maybe last year sometime. I was talking about when you're first meeting people, right? Whether it be romantically, or friendships or whatever. Placing all your baggage on the table, getting completely naked. I know you have to do it in stages, but
Yeah.
she was like, "No, I'm not comfortable with that. Why? Because you're not comfortable with yourself.
Mm.
But you would want to know everything that I got going on.
Yeah.
You would want to know that just in case we go down the road, we progress down the road. You want to
Hmm.
know. So I'm going to get completely naked with whomever and have a
Right.
conversation, authentic conversation. Why people run from authentic conversations? And if I'm giving you my mirror, you should actually thank me for that. I'm not pretending with you.
Because you're not talking to them; they're talking to their representative.
One more time for the people in the back.
You're not talking to them; you're talking to their representative,
Exactly.
the person who will do and match whatever that person is doing or matching at the beginning of a relationship. Because people
Exactly.
mirror. The easiest way to get somebody to like you is to mirror their behavior,
Absolutely.
right? So, when what that will look like is me sitting like with when Trent has his hand up, me doing the same thing, right? Leaning forward if they're leaning forward, crossing your legs the same way.
Exactly.
That's how you mirror people, and that's
A ton of folks don't know that that's a gift, man. When you can actually mirror a person, you
mhm.
mirror that person's energy, that good energy. You'd be surprised what comes out on the other side of that. A beautiful
Salespeople do it all the
friendship.
time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's an easy way to get somebody to like you, but it's a facade because you haven't really done anything for them to get to know you. Right? You can say all the right things and do all the right things, but when it comes down to it, they only know what facade you put out there, what
Exactly.
that persona looks like.
That's true. You're right.
Right? And
You're
then you
right.
have people who love bomb, who will do say everything and do everything until they get you, and then all of a sudden, all that's gone because the challenge is gone.
Exactly.
You know.
True, true.
So,
We got 5 minutes to the hour. Let's get a couple of things out of the way as far as business going, then we'll get into the teachable moment. So folks, you guys could catch us on Apple Podcasts as well. Get it three days for free. After the 3 days are up, $1.99 each month. It's on the Apple Podcast. Same thing. You're gonna be able to get the merch, all that stuff. Some call me Trent quotes, all that stuff. Dee's book, her new book coming out and everything. So we're moving along. We're moving along. The conversation's going back to where it once was years past. So it took me a while to get back with this recovery. I'm still in recovery, but it's coming along, coming along. So the platform is building, is growing back. If I can get back to those 100,000 people, I'll be grateful. I appreciate the 23,000 people over there already. So really appreciate you guys coming in because you haven't seen me in a minute. It's been a minute. So, but good stuff. I really appreciate all the support, all that good stuff. So catch us on the B2G Unity TV network as well. So good stuff. YouTube Live, the YouTube channel, all that stuff. Go ahead, D.
yeah. So, and I do thank everybody for reading or watching from all over the world. Great to have you. Feel free to share things that you'd like us to talk about. Right? Not just hate mail. You can send real mail too, and with stuff that you'd like to discuss. You can
You know,
find me on our
guys,
Facebook
Coach D
page.
she's always getting the hate mail. Actually, one filtered through to me. I think I told you that last week when she said something the previous week before. It got to me. I was like, hey, contact her. Don't contact me with that foolishness. So, but
I
she's
have,
always getting the hate mail. But we mean no harm. We will step on those toes if it's going to push you in the right direction. So we will step on those toes.
yeah.
It's in a good way.
Sometimes it's just a matter of look. We're giving you some ideas to look at yourself, and sometimes when we look at ourselves and we get caught up in our stuff, and we all get caught up. I say stuff that I think about afterwards, like, damn,
That was
I need to think
harsh.
about that some more. Yeah,
Exactly.
life is life, and
That's
none
it,
of us are
man.
perfect. We all have baggage. We all have work to do. You know,
Exactly.
we don't sit on a high horse. We're down
In
in the
today's
dirt.
climate, man, in today's climate, to piggyback off what Coach D's talking about, in today's climate, man, life is life in everybody. And if they say it's not, move away from them quick. They're delusional. Life is life, man, and we need programs like this where we're actually pushing one another forward. You know, you never know, man. A person could have a bad day, and something I've said or something Coach D said pushed them into tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good, man. It's always good to push a person into tomorrow. If they're stuck in today, just say something kind to them and push them into tomorrow.
Yeah.
You may have saved that person's life.
Listen, every if there's somebody who's listening who's on that fence, you are enough and you are loved, and you know, reach out if you need to talk.
Absolutely.
And you know, I told Trent, my whole goal here is to help people, and if I've helped one person, then I've met my goal.
Boom.
All there is to it. So
Boom.
you know, life is. I'm a helper now. I do it in a different way than I did before. And, you know, it's sometimes we just have to have conversations where sometimes I just listen to people and just let them talk. And
Absolutely.
that's okay. Sometimes people just need to listen. Sometimes they want advice. Sometimes they want encouragement or a motivational word.
Exactly.
And sometimes they just want an ear.
Exactly.
And all too often,
1 minute to the hour. Quick teachable moment. 1 minute to the hour.
Quick teachable moment. Always be authentically you. No matter what, because you are the only you there are, and we as individuals matter, and who you are matters. So just be yourself.
Exactly. My teachable moment, just like I came in saying the same thing. If they don't value what you value, move away from them. Mm-hmm. It's okay to move away from them. I don't care a number of years you've known them or whatever, the quantity in a relationship. Whatever it is, if it's not quality, move away from it. If they're not valuing what you value, they don't value the things that you like or you're doing or whatever, move away from them quick. Time cannot be wasted on stagnant people. Time cannot be wasted on people who do not care for you, period. You know, close us out, Coach.
You know what? Send us your ideas. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick something messy next week and get y'all upset again. You know? It's 8:59. I hope you have everybody who's watching and everybody who's watching the recordings have a wonderful week. We will be back again on Sunday, hopefully with something interesting for you to listen to.
Absolutely. You guys be epic.
All right. Farewell.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedie Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.